I don't think very many people expected Skyblock's update 0.19.7 or the Pests update to be released so soon following the alpha testing period, but today it is out. This is the Garden Pests update. I've been calling it Garden V2 because it is pretty substantial with a lot of new content. So, my name is Derailious, welcome back to Skyblock News, and let's launch right into it. Starting off today, they state, "Hello, welcome to Skyblock patch 0.19.7. Following a fruitful period of alpha testing, today's update includes a whole bunch of creepy crawlies that will be making their way into your garden. Read on to find out more." They also start off with a note, which happens pretty frequently now. They state, as many of you are aware, this update originally landed on alpha with the focus of introducing the core pest system to players. We have a strong idea of our goals with this update, to create a more active gameplay loop for farming. To put it simply, we are releasing this update not only to create engaging gameplay into farming, but also promote active play. While we do not want to completely stop the practice of playing the garden while, for example, watching shows or talking with friends, we are hoping this update reduces the strength of botting and macroing within the garden while improving the experience for everyone else. Over the last couple days, we received an immense amount of feedback from sources such as the forums, Reddit, Discord, and more, which allowed us to make dozens of impactful changes that massively enhanced this update compared to what released on alpha just mere days ago. The Pest update, which we are releasing today, is a massive improvement, and we will continue to keep our eyes peeled for further feedback as we make additional changes over the coming days. We should also note that the players who have referred to what has come as a farming jiggle will not be enabled on the live release. I think this is going to make a lot of people happy, and I also think it's interesting how they're talking about making further improvements in the next few days. This is not the final update related to the Pest update, which I think is a good idea. Making changes that the community will like over the next few days will definitely bring more people to come around to this idea and basically like it a lot more. So starting here, we have Pests. Starting today, players who have reached Garden Level 5 will encounter a variety of pests spawning around their garden. From rats to mosquitoes, there are 10 different types of pests. Different ones will have different behaviors and drop different items. As you farm, pests will spawn slowly over time, and if there are 4 or more pests in your garden at any one time, you will lose some farming fortune. But pests are not all that bad. The more you defeat them, the bigger the buff you can claim, so make sure you vacuum all your pests. There are also tools you can use to reduce pest spawning or spawn way more, which is your choice. They also go over the 2 new NPCs, Pest Hunter Philip and Pamela. Basically, they just talk about what they actually do. We've talked about this in previous videos, and we've also showed a lot of the features. They basically help you either show you what you need to do, give you things like the Sprayinator, which we'll talk about in a minute, or they'll actually teach you how this update works. There's nothing really too special about it here. They also showcase the Pest Hunter bonus, which gives you a little bit of a farming fortune bonus, as you can see, for the next 30 minutes, depending on how many pests you've exchanged. Basically how it works is if you, for example, dump in 20 pests, you'll have a farming fortune buff for the next 30 minutes. It's only based on your exchanges in the last 30 minutes. It doesn't keep stacking if you wait 29 minutes and then add one more. It's not going to keep going forever like that, so please do keep that in mind. They also go over some of the new SkyMart items, and as you can see, that is one big vacuum. This is the maxed out vacuum from the update, the Infinivacum Huvarius. It basically has the vacuum perk, which we've talked about in previous videos. You could just use it to suck in pests. It also has a tracker, which lets you see the direction of the nearest pest, and it also allows you to use the stereo harmony feature, which allows you to play vinyls that drop from various pests at a frequency only they can hear. Certain pests are more likely to appear when playing certain vinyls, which I think is a pretty interesting feature, but once again covered in previous videos. As you can see, the cost there, though, is 2,500 copper in Infinivacum, which is previously on that list of new SkyMart items, and a chirping stereo, which is a drop from one of the pests. Moving on, we have pest drops and a new drop system. Each pest has its own unique drop table. For example, the rat drops the enchanted pumpkin, compost, honey jar, dung, plant matter, tasty cheese, rodent revolution vinyl, which is the vinyls that we were talking about before, the polished pumpkin, and the legendary rat pet. Farming Fortune works on crop drops with a 5% drop chance or more, multiplying the amount of crops you receive. For example, the rat pest has a 100% chance to drop at least one enchanted pumpkin. So if you have a total of 1,000 farming fortune, and also pumpkin fortune, you will drop 11 enchanted pumpkins. How does a rat carry 11 pumpkins? You shouldn't be asking these kinds of questions. For pest drops with a 5% or lower chance, a new formula has been devised that utilizes farming fortune in place of magic find. Simply put, farming fortune increases your chances of getting rare drops. The higher your farming fortune stat, the higher your chances of getting rarer drops. In my previous video, I made it kind of a point to say that I didn't really like this system, and while that point kind of still stands, I think that I phrased it pretty poorly. I really think that this is, for the most part, fine. My big issue was that it's very hard to see in-game how to fully max out farming fortune. Obviously, there's a lot of different ways now. There's the new bestiary system, which we'll get into in a little bit. There's all of the new items. There's the vacuum stuff. I just wish there was like a menu that you can look at to actually see the potential maximum farming fortune you could have. And really, this could exist for any skill or fortune or anything like that. Just seeing how to max something out for a player could be very useful. This could even be connected to the official Skyblock wiki if they really wanted it to be. I just think something like that would do a lot for new players, as otherwise it can get confusing. I myself, I'm not like a pro farmer or anything, and it is pretty tough for me to figure out how to fully max stuff out. Maybe I'm just stupid, but I think that Skyblock shouldn't necessarily cater to stupid people, but should allow those stupid people to see what to do in the game. Next up on our list, we have a new garden stat, which is bonus pest chance. This gives you a bonus chance to spawn pests, shockingly enough. Allows you to spawn 2 or even 3 instead of 1. I think this is great. I have no problems with this. And let's move on. We have the changes to Jacob's medals. They've done a lot of things here. They've added 2 new brackets, the diamond and platinum bracket, and they've also made it so golds and silvers are easier to get. As you can see, they've been trying to create more winners. Everyone loves winners. We don't talk about losers, they state. Gold medal bracket has been increased from top 5% to top 10%, which I think is awesome. The silver medal bracket has been increased from top 25% to top 30%. Really great too. Diamond and platinum now exist. They are the top 2 and 5% of participants respectively. They give you 1 gold, 1 silver, and 35 Jacob's tickets for diamond, and 1 gold, 1 bronze, and 30 Jacob's tickets for platinum. I think there should have been a top 1% bracket here, which gives you 2 golds, but that is just, wishing, so yeah. They also added an ability to gain 2 new emblems. All unique platinum medals, which is the top 5% one, will give you a gray one, while the diamond set will give you a gold one. They wanted it to be a little bit easier for players to max out the progression, which involves getting all the golds. I like this. I think this is awesome. Great stuff, admins. They also reduced a lot of the crop milestones, as you can see here. Most of them have been reduced by around 35 to 41%. Some of them have been reduced a little bit less. Cocoa bean is down just 12%, melon is down just 28%, but I think that's pretty fine. A big reduction in milestones is great because they stated as things stand, maxing the garden takes a bit too long compared to other skills, with the majority of this time being spent grinding out individual crop milestones. As a result of this, we have further reduced all crop milestones to make the grind a bit less harsh. Though this is a pretty small change, we think it'll go a long way in the long term. I actually disagree with this. I think this isn't a small change. I think this is huge and also really awesome. Thank you, admins, for reducing this stuff. I think people are going to be very, very happy about this. We also have some new Anita items. They now have a ring, an artifact, and a talisman, which I think is cool. I've already showed these on, the previous videos, but if you want to get them, they give you random bonuses during a farming contest. Kind of gives you some randomness there if you want to get a little bit of extra, fortune out of it. I could see this being useful for those new top tier brackets, but for most people, it's probably not going to be a crazy deal. There's also the personal best system, which allows you to give you crop fortune based on your records in Jacob's contest. They didn't show this on the little GIF here, but it's just something you can get, and you can see all of your, personal best, and it gives you a ton of fortune. Just adds to that fortune system, which I think is pretty cool. They also added a new visitor, Maeve, who appears in your garden if you are garden 12 or higher. If you fulfill her request, Maeve will give you a Harvest Harbinger potion, which grants 50 farming fortune for the next 25 minutes. Yet another way to get farming fortune. I think this is pretty cool, and yeah, I really have no problems with this. They also added 2 new barn skins. This one is a little, cute one. It kind of reminds me of the ones that you see in like a little Chinese restaurant with a little cat that has its hand that goes up and down when you touch it. I don't know, I think this is pretty cool. They also made a bunch of other changes to the garden. For example, beds cannot be used in the garden. Crop-specific farming fortune is now shown beneath the general farming fortune line in the tab list, which is great. Compost has a right-click to view recipes feature now. There's 10 new fortune stats, one for each crop, which makes sense. And there's just a bunch of other things going on as well, like bug fixes, combat changes, etc. Fishing got a pretty sad one. You can no longer vanille fish with rod swapping, which, you know what, fair enough. They finally got to that one. And yeah, that's really about it. Some people are going to be a little bit upset about this update. I think they got rid of most of the things that people didn't like. The jiggle is gone, for example. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say beyond that. We've talked about this update a lot. They've made a lot of fixes, a lot of improvements. This is significantly better than what we saw on the alpha. I think people will really get into it and like it a lot more, and I, for one, am excited to try it out. At the end of the day, though, my name is Derailious. Thank you so much for watching this video till the end, and look to the future, fellas, because I will see you then.